We are potentially on the cusp of a global recession. Despite this, our need to communicate and thrive in the digital world has not gone away. Some of us might not have as much disposable income as we did say 12 months ago, but thankfully Samsung has our backs, or does it? Before we jump in, just a quick word from today's sponsors, Roll VT. Roll VT. Ah, that's right, I don't have a sponsor. But by you clicking subscribe, that will help me out a lot. Thank you. Samsung have been banging out premium phones for literally decades. Like masters of their craft, they often deliver innovation well ahead of their competitors. Apple, I'm looking at you. But not using your devices. Although, make sure you keep a lookout for a video I'm doing over the coming weeks that shows you how to get into the Apple ecosystem for next to no money at all. Anyway, enough about Apple. You want to know about this, which is the Galaxy A04s, Samsung's bottom end device with a mind-blowing triple camera. Let's get this affordable beast unboxed. Here we have the lovely Galaxy A04s or A04s. We will get this unboxed and we will take a look. Nothing much going on the box, just a bit of information just telling you that a power adapter is sold separately. And that's about it. So we'll open it up. And most of the box does appear to be the phone itself. Wow, so it's nice and big. I like the camera layout here, but we'll take a look at that in a bit more detail. First, we'll see what else we get in the box. So we've got a SIM tray tool there. And then we've got a bunch of additional items in here. So just open that up, see what's in the box. We have a charging cable, USB-C to USB-C. Interesting choice, but that's just the way it is. We've got a quick start guide here, just telling you how to open the SIM tray. And that's basically it. And a couple of other bits here. Warranty conditions. Oh, we've got each and every language on its own separate bit of paper. Phone itself comes wrapped in plastic, which we will now peel off. There we go, and we get the device itself. So looking around it, got a nice camera array here. 1, 2, 3 cameras and a flash. And on the front we've got the screen with a cutout camera there. And a bit of a chin, which we'll see when we switch the screen on. We've got a lock button there and volume rocker along the top. We've got a microphone, SIM tray on this side. And on the bottom we've got a speaker, USB-C, another microphone, and headphone jack. Nice. Let's get it switched on, and we are in. So standard swipe up and then across for your app tray. Fairly smooth. And on the side, there is fingerprint unlock on the lock button. So I'll just lock it, and then I'll just show you unlock. So there we go, that's fairly responsive. There's not much bloatware on there. There's your usual Samsung array of stuff and the bundled in Microsoft applications that we tend to get. Other than that, Call of Duty I've installed. Some of these are on there by default, but you can remove them. So I have updated the software on this, and it does end up with Android 13 with the version 5 of the One UI. And we've got a Google Play System update up to 1st of November 2022. So I just want to briefly talk to you about the display settings that are available on here. So you can change from light and dark mode, and I think you can also schedule it. Yeah, you can. Brightness is very adjustable. It does go very bright, does the phone. You might not be able to see this on the video, but it does go really bright. It does have adaptive brightness. And then we've got motion smoothness. So you can preserve battery life by setting it to a 60 Hz screen refresh, or you can get it nice and smooth with adaptive, and that runs up to 90, but it won't do it all the time. eye comfort shield, if we switch that on, does the usual job of turning everything pink. And you can also increase the touch sensitivity, which could be fairly useful. There is a setting for the camera cutout. What that will do is hide the camera cutout depending on what app you're in. So they're all set to auto at the moment, so I guess it depends on your preference really. But all it'll do is just go straight across at the top rather than having the dipped down area where the camera is. And I just want to open up the SIM tray and see what we've got in there. That's very nice. So we can have dual SIM. Very handy if you've got a work number and a personal number. And also a micro SD or TF card slot there. So we will try and put in a SD card and we'll see if we're allowed to use it as storage by default or if we're going to have to change some settings. So we've got the SIM tray out and I have a micro SD card, so completely unformatted and unpartitioned, so as good as new, although it's not a brand new card, but never mind. So I'm just going to rest that in the SIM tray and we're going to put it in and we're going to see what the device says and whether or not we can use it as internal storage. In it goes. So something come up in the notification area, so we'll just have a look at that. So it's just saying it needs to be formatted, so we'll just format that now. And that's now ready to use. So after inserting the SD card, the only thing that will really happen is on the camera app, you'll be able to see you can change the storage location. So you can't adopt the storage to be used as internal storage. There's another little bugbear that happens with Samsung devices. Other manufacturers are quite open to allowing you to use a micro SD card to extend the storage, but Samsung not. It's a bit frustrating because there's only a 32GB storage device. Having said that though, you can go into developer options. What you can do is force allow apps on external. So what that will do, it will allow you to shift some apps onto the micro SD card, which may help, but you do still need to manually do that. So it's not as good as having it as adoptable storage. A little bit disappointing, but not unexpected on one of these. Thank you for that lovely demonstration there, Tomo. Now let's take a look at some of the gaming capabilities of the device. A little bit of gaming here, so Call of Duty Mobile, graphics quality low. Very much playable. The occasional stutter, but nothing too drastic. This is fun. It's actually performing better than some of the other devices I've looked at in this sort of price range. Another one of my mobile favourites, Asphalt 9. So quite a demanding title. So it'll be interesting to see if it handles this. A lot of stuttering going on there. Ooh, and there. I mean, yeah, it kind of works. But yeah, it's not a flawless experience. I've seen worse. It's definitely playable as this. I'm just going to have a look at some video playback on YouTube, but just before I do that, I'm just going to show you, I'll try and demonstrate the brightness and the range. So it gets extremely bright. You might not be able to tell just from the video that you're watching here, but that is insanely bright. So we'll play the video and I'll whack the volume up full. Watching a thommostech video, and today we are going to be looking at the Ulefone Note 14. So that's nice and loud, is that? If we just check, it autoed to 720p, but I should be able to go up to 1080p. We get USB. It's just a mono speaker there, just on the bottom, but it is loud. That's quite impressive. And in terms of camera modes, etc., you'll see I'm filming this with an iPhone. A bit weird, but never mind. So you've got portrait mode, which allows you to change the strength of portrait and it'll blur the background, and it'll just change the strength of that. You can change the camera, so it's the wide angle lens, and then you can get more people in the picture. You take a normal picture and then video and more. So we've got pro, panorama, food, macro, deco pick. We can press that little plus there and you can drag those down, add them there if you like. And then you can save that. And just going back, changing over to the other camera. Similar sort of setup really. When you are recording video, you can actually change. So you've got the zoom camera, so it switches which one it's using. You go up to 10x, but obviously results will be terrible there, especially with no image stabilization. But that's pretty good. You can also change if you want full frame, or you can go 1:1, or you can have the classic widescreen 16:9. In the settings, there is nothing about image stabilization, which is a big shame. This is being recorded on the device itself. So we've got full HD 1080p video recording at 30 frames per second. Got a decent amount of light coming in from above me here. So this is what you'd expect to see. And also, you hear my voice, it seems to be projecting quite well. And the microphone is picking it up really well. So that's pretty good from a cheap device. Let me know what you think in the comments. And similar results here. So this is the front-facing camera. I can see myself in the screen right there. These are the results to expect from this. Again, decent amount of lighting coming in. And if you're the sort of person who wants to be making shorts or TikTok videos, then these are the results you should expect. Just going to wobble the camera around a little bit. Not really got any image stabilization there, so that's a bit of a shame. The main camera produces fairly good results when you're just taking photos. A very grim day these were taken on. As you can see, it's quite foggy. Not the fault of the camera. It's quite a decent selfie. You can see the background blur in action there. And it's also quite good at taking pictures of plants. And it will also do quite a good job of pulling out what's in the foreground or the background. And there we have it. Things I do like. The 90Hz refresh rate is really nice to see. Pretty good, pretty smooth experience, although with such a low powered processor you're not going to get a very slick experience all of the time, and you're probably not even going to get 90 frames per second in the majority of things that you do that aren't just browsing through your apps on your home screen. It's got a nice sizable 6.5-inch LCD screen, and the teardrop notch is not too imposing. And neither is the chin. It feels like premium devices did about 5 or 6 years ago. The octa-core processor sounds great on paper, but in the real terms of using it, it's not amazing. There's a lot of stuttering, a lot of slowdown, and as you've seen from the demonstration of the cameras, the images don't always come out amazingly well because there are limitations to the device. It's nice that it has got a 50 megapixel main camera, but do always bear in mind that the megapixel count isn't always the best thing about a camera. You're better off getting a lower megapixel camera with much better software, much better performance. 15-watt charging, quite good, but at this point I think pretty much most devices have got that in there. If they haven't, then they're lower than the bottom end and probably shouldn't even exist. It would be nice to see maybe 30-watt charging on this, just to make it so you can just charge it that little bit quicker. 15 watts is quite sluggish for the size of the battery that's in the device. But let's consider how much it costs. So for around about $150 or £150, you are getting a Samsung phone with a triple camera setup that is going to get software updates for at least another 12 months. That's really nice to have in this day and age, particularly when it comes to the number of malicious apps that are out there. It's always good to have security updates on a device. It's always good to be trusting a device with your personal data when it is getting the latest updates. So that is worth considering. I think it represents really good value for that price. You're not going to get much better for that brand new. There's some other phones out there, and Motorola's ones, for example, they offer a similar spec for a similar price. So there is plenty of choice out there. Some people love the Samsung UI. I personally am not that much of a fan, although I don't mind it. There are worse out there. A couple of things I haven't attempted. So you definitely can't do Samsung DeX with this phone, obviously, with it being so low end. So if you were to spend the same amount on a pre-owned phone, for example, you can potentially get like a Samsung Galaxy S10e for around a similar amount on eBay, and you're going to get much more features on there, but then security updates ain't going to happen, and battery life, probably going to need to replace the battery, which does involve taking the device completely apart, so not necessarily the right thing to do. But if you are just wanting a phone to mess about with playing games, then you can get a lot better out there. But if you're using it as your daily driver, you do want to make sure you've got security updates, and you do want to make sure that your battery is going to last longer than a few hours. So that's it for today's video. As I said at the beginning, no sponsor, so you can be my sponsor. You can click subscribe and like, or dislike if you didn't like it. I don't mind. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. It really does help me. It keeps me motivated to make these reviews. And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.